Alright, Madaz here once again, and this is going to be the SAEX Panic Pop short at the open video. Apologize I didn't get to it this weekend, but you know, Madaz has got to get in his weekly dose of partying, so got a little get carried away, didn't have time to process the video this weekend, but I'm going to get to it right now for you guys. I know you guys have been very excited to see this. It was a pretty nice win for me. A nice little 5-figure win off of this short. It was really good trade, a very good trade. Really nice opportunity, and hope you guys took advantage of it as well. But just to start things off, today was an amazing day. ARRY. Hope you guys took full advantage of this opportunity. Amazing stock today. Still going up after hours. New highs. Pretty much up at this point, almost double. And I saw a lot of guys trying to short this thing, and I don't know why. Some of you guys are so fixated on just short selling everything. I mean, I was making a lot of money off of shorting stocks for a while, but you know, you gotta be open-minded to both sides. So today, ARRY, once I kind of realized that the analysts were jumping on this thing, I figured they'd probably prop the bids and grind this thing up all day, and that's exactly what happened. And I saw a lot of you guys try to short this thing, but you know what? At some point in time, you gotta realize you gotta be open-minded to the other side. So, I mean, hey, I have no problem with it if you want to keep shorting it. And more money for me, because technically, you know, you're pushing the stock higher. You're helping push the stock higher with your panic covers and your ads here and there. And, you know, I don't have a problem with that as a person who went long on ARRY today. But, you know, just so you guys know, you just got to be aware of both sides and the possibility that this thing could just grind all day. So just be wary of that. Tomorrow, hopefully, we got a nice little washout long kind of play, assuming that this thing doesn't gap to infinity. You know, if this thing could drop maybe to right here, 670 would be nice. Any lower than that would be an absolute gift. I really highly doubt it would drop down to 640 or 620s, but a nice 30-40 cent yank at the open would be very nice. Probably get a nice 20-cent bounce back or something like that. So assuming the volume is there, we should have a nice play at the open tomorrow on ARRY. So let's talk about SAEX, though. This is the stock that was a big-time play on Friday, and I'm going to show you guys, of course, the live trading footage after I explain the setup for this trade. So pretty much the day before Friday, we had this big move here from 6 all the way to 10, and pretty much what you see here is a lot of resistance here in the 1050 area, and then you see the stock kind of gap up and then kind of top out in the 11s. And I'm going to pull up the daily chart here and show you guys why exactly did it top out those levels. It's going to be pretty apparent to you. We're going to take a look right here. So we can see that 11 is the bottom support right here, the prior support right here, 11s, and also this 1070, 1050, 770 area was prior resistance as well at the start of this downtrend, essentially, before the stock pretty much started grinding toward pretty much oblivion, back down to these lows here at 6. So pretty much you can kind of see the same levels came into play here. You see that the 11s were rejected there, and then you see the 1070 level that I just mentioned, actually, and then also 1050 was the resistance from the day before. So once this stock kind of you know, squeezed out the last remaining shorts and then trapped a couple longs here, chasing these 11s during the pre-market session on Friday, what I was looking for was pretty much either if it were to hold this 1050 level, then this could potentially be a long and keep going higher. Maybe move toward 11s or 12s, who knows? Or maybe it fails to hold and we get like a nice little wick play like we ended up getting, and this thing gets rejected and traps a bunch of longs and it gets dumped on. So pretty much those are the two scenarios. Either a defend of the previous day's high for a long, or pretty much a fail to regain of the previous day's high or any sustained action above 1050, 1075, and 11. You'd probably expect some shorts to pile on as like I said on the daily chart, these were pretty big resistance levels. So as a result, you can kind of see that's exactly what happened. It kind of wicked above, gave a little fake out, a little head fake above 1050, the previous day's high, and then it ran into 1070, which was the point the resistance level that I pointed out in the daily chart. And then the next candle, it failed to regain 1050, and then pretty much the rest was history. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the footage, and hopefully you guys learn a thing or two from it. Alright, so we pick it up here about 15 seconds before the open. I'm going to play it at normal real-time speed at the beginning, but since this video is about an hour and a half long, I'm going to go ahead and speed things up so that way you don't have to watch a bunch of the grinds. But you'll see me enter this trade pretty soon here. Now, I did make a very, very silly mistake. You'll see that I end up having a pretty poor entry. I slammed the bids at 10. I tried to get in there at 1050 because I knew that that was a resistance level, and I'd figured that the market makers or whoever chasing the stock would probably pop it above 1050 by a couple cents and then slam it back down. But the stupid thing that I did was I didn't load the shorts into my account in time. So as a result, I tried to short the stock and it said stock was not shortable. So that cost me probably 50 cents worth of entry and probably $5,000 if you think about it, because I'm trying to get in with 10,000 shares. So that's a costly mistake, guys. So definitely load the shorts. Make sure you load the shorts before you enter the trade. I was ready to go, and then I stepped out to go to the bathroom, came back with about a minute left, and I thought I had it set, and then apparently I didn't. So, but for what it's worth, I got in here 10:02. Not the best entry. But that little head fake above 1050 kind of gave me some belief that this thing might struggle to get back above 1050, 1070, and 11s. Pretty much the plan here is to either add on a confirm or maybe another 1050, 1070, or 11 reject. Try to add again. So I'm going to end up adding a total of 20,000 shares on my short position. Stock kind of stalling here around 10. Did make me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but still the key level is that 1050, 1070, and 11 from the pre-market highs. As long as those levels do not regain and hold, I'm fairly comfortable holding this position. So you can see this thing makes an attempt to get over 1050, and you'll see that it gets slammed back down. You see that it kind of yanked from 1050 the bids, and it dropped to 1015 on the best bid. So another sign of weakness. So again, as long as 1050s do not hold and there's not a solid bid there propping the stock back toward 11, I feel pretty comfortable holding this 10,000 shares, despite the negative 4,000 unrealized that you currently see there on the screen. As you see the bid struggling to get back toward that 1050 level. And 10s are lost once again. So I slammed the 10s again, trying to get my full position, 20,000 shares. Now, all of a sudden, I was down unrealized 4,000. Now I'm up realized for a second there, $4,000. That VWAP now at 1028. Again, that 1050 level coming into play there. Previous day's high and a resistance low on the daily chart. definitely coming into play here. Still teetering around the 10 level, so we're not completely in the clear yet. But again, remaining disciplined. Mentioned it many times in this video. 1050 needs to regain and hold with a solid bid. Without that, there's really no reason for me to panic, cover, or anything like that. And once again, 10s are slammed. And new low days. So at this point now, I'm pretty much looking at this stock making lower highs, lower lows, more lower days. The more lower days this thing makes, the more comfortable I am holding this thing. As you guys know, I am typically a scalper that's in and out in a matter of minutes and sometimes a matter of seconds. But when I see a chart like this where there's obvious weakness and this thing making a new lower day just 6 minutes into the day like this and not able to regain a whole number like 10 or even regain VWAP, or of course, like I said, at 1050, 1070, 11-ish level, and it looks like it's struggling really hard. There's no reason for me to cover, and pretty much I can hold this very safely. Now, this thing does make one final last-ditch attempt to pop, I believe in the next couple minutes, but you'll see once again it gets rejected around that 1050 level, I believe. So the stock still hanging around closer to the lows of the day, over $1 off the highs. Gotta admit, this action isn't the most exciting to watch in the world, but this was probably the best play on Friday, and the results speak for itself. But this is definitely an example of where you pretty much have to have patience and have the discipline to not act impulsively and stick to your stops and your targets. And here's the last ditch push here over 10. Probably squeezing out the last anxious shorts that are losing their patience and maybe they're freaking out and just wanting out really quickly here. And as you can see, the 10s regain there for like maybe a couple seconds, and then right away the ass come down below 10. Pretty much a clean VWAP reject there. Here's the last ditch push. Now watch that 1050 level. Also note that this push is on lower volume. You see that the previous attempt to get over 1050 was on over 200,000 shares, and this time I believe is not even 100,000 shares, and you know, with less volume and less force behind it, it's probably not going to get there. So you can see 1050 was not able to regain there, and there you go. 10's lost again, and pretty much at this point, it's pretty much goodbye SAEX, and pretty much any longs still holding this thing better get the hell out now, or they're going to be looking at a lot of pain over the next couple hours. So we're just going to play this video at real time until it breaches new lows, and I'm going to go ahead and speed things up so that way we don't stare at pretty much sideways and grind for an hour and a half. But I will discuss my covers as I will be scaling out due to lower volume on this stock, a lot less liquidity on this thing, so I couldn't really get out in one hit. But you'll see this thing test the lows again and eventually breach it very shortly. Here we go. Let's see. I believe there was a hidden bid here at 970 that kind of propped the stock up a little bit, but it eventually gets whacked out. I think we'll see it get tested shortly, and you'll see a bunch of orders go through at 970, despite only 3,200 shares total showing on the bid. It's always good to kind of note those kind of things, you know, hidden bids and hidden offers. It's really good to recognize that and trade accordingly. Definitely, it's part of tape reading. A lot of you guys ask about tape reading, and definitely learning about how hidden bids and hidden offers and how they impact price action is a major component of that, and recognizing it really quickly. This is a lot easier, of course, to recognize because this is a pretty slow-moving stock on relatively lower volume. A little bit more difficult on a faster-moving stock with higher volume, but same concept. Again, this is not the most exciting stock in the world to watch, but I think right now, pretty much what's going on, it's just weeding out the last few shorts left that are too impatient to hold on to their positions. There it goes. And what it does is that every time any shorts panic cover, they're probably going to chase it again back down if they see that this thing makes more lows. So that will add to the downward pressure on this thing. Really doubt there's really any real buyers on this stock. I mean, this thing, I believe, went up on pretty much not really any news at all. Correct me if I'm wrong, but definitely the price action seemed like it was just a bunch of shorts kind of battling with each other, and the upward price action was caused by shorts covering as opposed to actual longs buying. I'm sure there were actual longs buying, but I believe it was more driven by shorts covering. And once all of the shorts are exhausted, the thing is going to pretty much have its bottom fall out. as we will see in the rest of this video. So a failed 10 regain pretty much here, so confirming more lower highs. Still holding on to the 970 support though. But most importantly, the stock hanging around closer to lows than it is to the highs. And anytime a stock trades closer to lows than it is to the highs, you better believe that longs are not going to feel comfortable, especially the longs that chase that initial move. And here comes that 970 test here, and you see the absorb. So a little bit of a bid prop there. You saw those 970 orders go through. But as you can see, it didn't really pop the stock back up that much. It's not so much the bid prop, but it's so much pretty much the reaction of the stock as a result of the bid prop. And as you can see, the bottom just fell out there once that 970 level just got obliterated. And now I'm pretty much up a cool almost 5 figures. All right, so we're going to go ahead and fast forward this thing. From this point on, this stock pretty much just kind of grinds down. So we go ahead and just put it at 4 times the real-time speed. And I'll explain my covers as we go along. So right now, like I said, if you guys have followed me on Twitter live when I was tweeting my trade on SAEX, I was talking about a low 9 target, and as you can see, I have a line there at 902. That is the support from the previous day, and that is my target. But eventually I do run out of patience and cover a lot sooner than that. But it was a pretty nice gain, so it was getting kind of slow, way too slow for me to watch it, and I just really couldn't take it anymore. But it did crack 9s eventually, and hopefully you guys took full advantage of that and made a pretty nice profit. Definitely, it was a great trade for me, and more than happy with the gains here, despite kind of leaving a lot of money on the table, of course, like always. But here we go. Look at that unrealized number, kind of just inching its way up there, looking pretty nice and beautiful. 930s now. So I attempt to cover there and quickly realize that there's not enough liquidity for me to cover my position. Try to cover at 930, try to lock in $14,000, but as you can see, the fills are kind of difficult. So at this point, I kind of realized that probably adding liquidity isn't going to work out, and I start to scale out by kind of taking the offers here and there, and if I can add liquidity, I try, but I'm going to look to scale out piece by piece here. So I only filled 1,100 shares at 930 there, as you can see. Still holding 18,900 shares, but got a pretty nice cushion here at this point. As the stock keeps making lower highs and lower lows. Still struggling to find any sign of real buyers, and I'm sure shorts are more than happy to hang on to their shares at this point with this thing making more lows. One thing I didn't like about this action is that, like I said, it's too slow. The volume's not high enough for me to, get in and out with my position size, and it's not flushing hard enough toward nines. I would have expected a pretty nice flush toward nines, or a nice little couple washes, and it takes it down to 9 pretty fast, and I'd be all out. But it's kind of still grinding. So watching this thing is pretty much equivalent to watching paint dry. So it's kind of tough to stay patient, but nonetheless, this thing pretty much looks like it has no chance of going back up, at least at this point. If you're watching the price action and you're watching the volume and therefore the interest in this stock kind of dwindling, there's just really no sign of life to the upside for SAEX at this point. More lows here. So one attempt of a push here. I did cover another couple shares, now realizing 5,000, 13,000 shares left. Now we're looking at that 950, 960 level as a key resistance, as it was prior support. So it should be resistance, and after that we pretty much have VWAP at around 10. So we see this thing attempt a little fake out there. It tries to pop above 960, 970, and it's going to start to resume its descent here shortly. At this point, I've been in this stock for, almost 40 minutes, over 40 minutes, and getting kind of tired and losing patience slowly, and I'm trying to scale out here and there, and you'll see me eventually cover this stock piece by piece over the next 40 minutes or so. Definitely took a lot of willpower. Definitely a trade that took a lot of patience from me as a person who knows that he doesn't have much patience. But with the chart going this favorably in my, with a chart this favorable to me, there was absolutely no reason for me to get anxious to cover. Especially with such a nice little cushion there, and realizing already $5,000. So we see an attempted 970 push. Like I said earlier, would have been nice to get that 930 cover there, but this stock does not have enough liquidity for that, unfortunately. But as long as this thing doesn't regain a solid 970 bid, there's no real reason to cover here. And down it goes. And we see it drop down back toward the 930s. Not gonna lie, pretty much I think on this day I was trading this, I was pretty much falling asleep at my desk. This thing was so boring to watch. But sometimes that's part of trading. You just gotta have patience, and if the stock is not hitting your stop loss, and it's still kind of hanging around and has a chance at hitting your target, you should probably stick around. But with the volume getting really low, I do take off about 8,000 shares at some point very soon, and I hang on to about 5,000. You can see right there, 5,500 shares left. So locking in already $9,200. I got 5,500 shares left, and the reason why I do this is because I don't want to deal with a situation where this thing pops like 30-40 cents in one candle, and I have to panic cover 13,000 shares. So in this case, if it does kind of spike to 10 or something like that, covering 5,000 shares wouldn't be as bad. So I just hold on to the 5,588 shares here and try to play it out with that line in the sand around 960, 970. As long as it doesn't regain that, I'm going to stick around. But eventually you'll see that I will run out of patience in about 10-15 minutes or so, but that's okay. You know, something for me to improve on, I suppose. But this stock's still not regaining that 960, 970 level with a solid bid. It's kind of like attempting to pop here and there, and then it gets slammed back down. So, still hanging around. Ideally, in a perfect world, there would have been a nice little washout at that 930 when I tried to cover my shares, and that's what I was looking for, really, when I tried to cover at 930. Wanted like a little panic washout, some panic selling, and then I'd get filled for my full position, but I guess it didn't happen that way, so I didn't get that full fill. So in a perfect world, I would have gotten that, and I would have been out and off to my daily trader nap. But yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work out that way, and that's okay. You gotta manage the trade no matter what happens, whether you expect something to happen the way you think or not. You got to adjust and adapt to any situations that might come up. So in this case, pretty much I was expecting to get a nice cover on a washout, didn't get it, and switched to a scaling out strategy so that way I wouldn't be caught holding too many shares should this thing pop. As you can see, it attempted another pop over 970 there and quickly lost a bid, now back down. And back down to 940, 950. Gonna be all covered pretty soon here, I believe. Yep, there we go. So I'm all covered, locked in 12,400 in gains. Just simply ran out of patience. We were approaching 11 a.m. and I really did not want to be trading past 11 a.m. into the low hours. So I just went ahead and just covered it 8 minutes ahead. So, hey, you know what? I ended up covering too early. If you look at the chart on SAEX that day, it did pretty much capsize right here. You can see that it did kind of eventually lost 920 and tanked down to 830. So would have been up a substantial amount, but hey, it is what it is. Hopefully you guys captured that part of the move. But for me personally, I just couldn't hold on to this thing longer than an hour and a half. It was pretty much a pain and a total chore, and didn't want to deal with the fact that this thing potentially might have just grinded sideways or grinded back against me, even worse, after holding it for that long. So I just took my nice profits. More than happy with those kind of gains. You know, you're never going to get the perfect top. You're not going to get the perfect bottom. But that's okay. You know, that's trading. Trading is about managing your risk. Trading is about, you know, taking the profits when you have them and when you're comfortable, and when you're no longer comfortable in a trade, or you no longer feel like you should be in the trade, then sometimes the best position is cash. Because as we all know, cash is also a position. So that being said, guys, hopefully you guys learned a thing or two. Look forward to making more videos like this in the future. Hopefully the market, which is looking a little bit better, is picking up a little bit more. We got some good plays. like ARRY today, and hopefully we get some more of those, and I can make some more videos for you guys, some more solid live trading examples for everyone to kind of learn off of, and for us to all grow together as traders. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video.